You're primarily known for songwriting.
Yes, sir, I am. I am.
I read where 50 million copies of your music has been sold already, your songs?
I've been really fortunate, Herb. I've had songs that have been on about 55 million records.
Wow.
Of course, a lot of those were Garth Brooks, you know. Garth and I were early friends when he first came to town.
Yeah.
And I had 2 songs on his first 3, of the first 3 albums he did, I had songs on 2 of them. So they sold a lot of records, you know.
Yeah.
And, I've had songs by a lot of different people over the years. I've been fortunate. I had a lot of great bluegrass artists do songs of mine too, you know.
It says here Alison Krauss, the Osborne brothers.
Yes, yes. And some of y'all might have heard of Alicia Nugent. She's coming up now. I've had 2 top 5 records on her.
No kidding.
Had records on Third Time Out and Doyle Lawson and a lot of people. I've been really fortunate. We work hard at it, and some days good Lord smiles on it. We get it right, you know.
Has anybody cut the same song over and over? Like how many times has one person cut the same song?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't know that number.
The first hit I had was Highway 40 Blues, and I know it's been cut a lot of times, but I couldn't tell you who all of them.
What did Alan Jackson and George Strait do for you?
They did Murder on Music Row for us, which was the one I guess everybody kind of knows us for, and it was the CMA, the IBMA, and the Spigma Song of the Year in 2001. And I'm really proud of it. We kind of got to noticing there wasn't a whole lot of country music left in the world. So
proud of the lyrics in there. You got them told.
Well, thank you. We thought we said our piece. We thought we said our piece.
You said it well too.
Well, thank you. We enjoyed it. We really did.
A couple of those collaborations on that took down and put up with J.P. Pennington, and talk about 67 Chevy Malibu, a couple of those other ones. You collaborated with them.
Well, you know, 67 Chevy Malibu thing, an old friend of mine gave me. He's passed away now. He's from New York originally, and he told me, you know, about he had this song idea, because you know Americans, we have always had a love affair with cars.
You bet. Still do.
You know, I still like big V8s, even though I know they use a lot of gas.
I love them. I got one in my truck.
Yeah, I do too. And so he said he had this little song idea called 67 Chevy Malibu, and I said, well, you know, I had one of them when I was going to college. And I said, I'd probably figure out how to do that. So his name was Mike Anthony. He was a great songwriter. He was really a great fellow. I hated to lose him. And I don't know what I wrote with JP. I think there was a thing on there called Hole in the Ground. JP wrote JP and Les. You know, JP and Les Taylor was in that country rock group Exile. Okay. And we're kind of like old-time friends for 20 years back.
Hole in the Ground, you're right.
We wrote the Hole in the Ground song, and we co-wrote the Rough Around the Edges song. So, you know, he's a great guitar player, singer in his own right.
Let's talk briefly about Lynyrd Skynyrd.
All right.
You did something. You took him on some of his music and bluegrass.
I did. We did a guy in California back in about 2002 had asked me if we could do something together, and he had this idea to take rock bands. And he had first asked me to do an Allman Brothers band thing, and I just didn't think it translated as well to these instruments.
Wow.
But Lynyrd Skynyrd things, it's really, they're known as a rock band, but if you listen to that music, they're really just country guys that had electric guitars, you know, and it was a lot closer to country than some country things are today. So we, having performed a lot of it when I was college age and stuff, I really just loved the guys' music. And so we decided to do a CD in tribute to him with these instruments, and I'm just so proud of how it turned out. You know, it turned out great.
How long has Lonesome Standard Time been around?
Well, some of y'all might remember the first version of it that I had with a fellow named Glenn Duncan, a great fiddle player.
Yeah, sure. He's been a natural for years.
Glenn and I played from the late 80s, about 88 or 89, until about 95.
Okay.
And then my daughter was young, and his session career was going so big, and my writing career was doing really good right in there. So we kind of took off a little hiatus off the road. And when I came back out in 2000, Glenn didn't want to work anymore, so not out on the road. He and Don Rigsby briefly had a band called, can't remember what that thing was called, but they had a little band together. It didn't last very long, which he was doing when I came back out. But Glenn's a great fiddle player and a great friend of mine, so we've been playing that long, nearly 20 years.
Wow.
If you count all the time since before I moved to Nashville, it's a long time.
Been around. You were up on the stage, you did a heck of a job.
Well, thank you.
Talk about some of your Grammy nominations. You were Grammy
Well,
nominated a few times.
I've only been, let's see, I guess the first CD Glenn and I had got nominated. That was called Larry Cordle, Glenn Duncan, and Lonesome Standard Time.
Okay.
Did have Highway 40 Blues on it, some of my old early songs. Can't Do Wrong, Get By. We were nominated for a Grammy that year, I believe it was 93. And the next time, I think, was 90, I guess it was 2000 or 2001 for Murder on Music Row for Best Bluegrass Album that year. And then we actually finally, my old buddy Carl Jackson finally won one for the record we was on, the tribute to the Louvin brothers.
I just interviewed Charlie.
Yeah, Living, Losing.
Still around.
We actually got a Grammy for that one. So, you know, I was thankful that I got to be on that record with him. I did an old thing, me and Carl and another friend of ours, Jerry Sally, did an old song of the Louvin brothers I always loved called You're Running Wild.
They were good music in their day, them Louvin brothers.
Man, it was my finest, you know.
That felt so good sitting next to Charlie, have him on the show here.
Oh, yeah, he's a legend.
He's a legend.
He's a Hall of Famer, you know.
Unbelievable.
He's been out, you know, working with, I'm really glad to see this. You know, one of these big rock bands took Charlie out last year.
I know.
Because, you know, got him to open shows, and I think it's such a great tip of the hat, you know. So many times these people just they forget about it.
I know.
You know, it's great to see these guys that are that age, that are in their 20s, and say, you know, take this guy out in front of a crowd and say, hey, in the 50s, this guy and his brother was the stuff.
I know, that was it.
You know, and then, I mean, music, we set boundaries for it, but really, if it's good,
it's always good.
It goes across everything, I think.
It's always good, Larry.
I think it is.
I think so, too.